Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another stream. It is Tuesday night, and we're here once again. So I hope you're all doing well. And yeah, today we're going to be going through some of my games from the Crescent City Cup. So I have my scorecard here, and all my games here, and you know, I went through all of them. I've made some notes on how well or how badly I did and things like that. So we'll go through, I would say, some of the more interesting games, I guess. There's always a bunch of games, especially this is a 20 game tournament. There's going to be some blowouts. There's going to be some, well, blowouts from either side, or just one-sided games that are not particularly interesting to kind of look through. So we're not going to look through those. We're going to look through maybe the closer ones, or ones where we have kind of more interesting decisions. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to be doing. We'll see how it goes. We're probably going to go through maybe 5, maybe 6 games today. So it shouldn't take too long, I guess. But I think that's kind of what I have in store for you guys today. So yeah, again, hope you're all doing well, had a good weekend, and so on and so forth. Also, thank you to Injured Cosmographer for the shout out earlier on with your stream earlier on today. I was watching some of it as well, and hoping that you had a great stream. So yeah, I think we should just move on. Let's move over to the Quackle screen. Alright, so I have this open. This isn't my first rack or anything. We'll go through it in a minute. But essentially, we kind of tell the story of how things are going in the tournament. So yeah, game 1, I play against Dean Saldana. This actually ends up being the highest score of the tournament in the division, 620 for me, and I do win this game by 258 points. Incredibly lucky game. I start off with 3 bingos, and then play off my X for 69 points, and then get another bingo. Well, I should get 2 bingos late on in the game as well. And yeah, didn't really put a foot wrong in this game. Everything just kind of fell my way. Again, I could go through it, but it's a 620 game, and I won by over 250, so I'm not going to go through it because it's too one-sided. But similarly to Albany from the new year, I did not start this tournament well. Despite the first game, I do end up losing game 2 against Puneet Sharma, which was on the stream as well. I was winning for most of the game until he got a late bingo down for 94 points, so end up losing by 40 points in the end. Thank you to Muffler Tentacle for the Gigantifying emote. Thank you very much for that as always. So yeah, I'm 1-on-1, obviously a huge spread, and I think this is where we're going to go through the first game against the eventual winner, Josh Castellano. Let's move all my stuff to the side. Okay, so I think we'll go through this game first. So his first rack, I don't necessarily know what it is, but he has Fleur. He puts down Fleur in the middle, like this. Let me just make sure everything works. Okay, so the score is working here. Let's just make this wider. So this is my first move. And it was a bit of a weird rack because this is what I have. And I have a few different options here. But in the end, I ended up taking about 4 minutes on this turn. Over considering which low 20-point scores are going to be best. And I couldn't really work out for sure which one was best. So there are a few options here. So let's gonna go through it by generating some choices. I'm probably gonna delete a bunch of these, much lower down the list. So number 1 option here to kind of get rid of, well, to score the most points, get rid of the kind of clunky tiles to play wanky underneath the F. Obviously giving easy kind of high scoring players above Wanky to hit the triple. Also, giving away the S-hook for Swanky. So that's another big red flag for this move. But you can see here, it does score the most points. So if I want to play something shorter, don't give away the S-hook, I could play Waney. But now you have this juicy spot above the A that could also be hit pretty hard. And I'm left with a K on my rank. So I don't know if that's really particularly any good. I mean, you could hope that my opponent might have too many vows and I could use the spot for my K myself. But I wouldn't necessarily be counting on that based on the first move of Fleur. Another option, you could do the same thing, but play Orny. It's a bit more open with lots of hooks, and you can still play above Orny as well, take the triple. Scores 3 points fewer than Waney. And you also have Fawny down here, if you want to play the same tiles, for 22 points. You don't open up the triple, but you open up a potential 4-timer here. So there's a lot of things to kind of think about here. I mean, you could also consider Fawn saving the Y for the next turn, potentially. So yeah, those were the kind of, well, I didn't even really think about Fawn too much. I'm going to get rid of these and just look at the first 4. So yeah, I'm going to simulate this. Let's see what happens. So just bear in mind, for full disclosure, I have already simulated everything here using Macondo, but I'm using Quackle just for illustrative purposes. It's a lot easier to see and kind of understand and imagine what the bag and what the board looks like. So here you can see everything's pretty close in terms of win percentage and valuation. You can see the top 2 of Fawny and Waney are near the top. We've got this through 2,000 iterations already. You can see that Orny and Wanky both not favored by the engine. And it does turn out that I do play Fawny. Fawny was the move that I made after 4 minutes of kind of working it out, and maybe it would have been better off me just playing something in a more timely fashion. Hi to How About the Band, and hello to Tactics47. Good to see you guys here. Again, if there's anyone else in the chat, anyone else watching and want to say hello, then feel free to say hello too. So yeah, that was kind of my choice for what we're doing right now. So I did that. Okay, so that's what I did. I'm going to move on. He plays Hound through the N. He does remark after the game that he either wasn't sure of Unhoard for a 4-timer. I can't remember if he said Unhoard or Unhoards, but I'm pretty sure it was just Unhoard, which would have been, I think, 44 points. So he played Hound for 18. I have this rack now. So the unfortunate thing about Hound is it actually blocked my move of Van Dyke, which I was pretty happy to see. I mean, this obviously would have been played without Hound there, keeping my A. But now I'm in a position where I'm stuck with the V and the K and the A kind of together, and I can't really adequately get rid of these tiles for a lot of points all together at once. Really, the only things that I was really considering here was either DAC or Card. So Card scores 6 extra points, but opens the triple, and also gets rid of the E as well. So yeah, there's not much else here apart from those two, in my opinion. So we'll see this as it kind of shakes out with the simulation. So Card actually looks way better than everything else, and I can honestly say this was not this was a slight misjudgment on my part. This was not what I played. I played DAC instead, wanting to keep the E. So yeah, it's the second best play here, and it's a little bit off the top move, so that's what I ended up doing. But again, second best play is not the worst thing in the world. It's about a 5-point error. So let's move on. So yeah, the main problem with that is it gives away a big spots underneath Dak, so something like Toga, which is what Josh played, actually scores more than my move of Dak. So that's 34 points. This is my next rack now. I have this. There wasn't really too much to think about here, apart from what letters should I be getting rid of here. The V is obviously worse than the B, but I was thinking of like Able or Able bingos that might go down here. So yeah, I decided just to shed the A and the V and play Tav for 18 points. And then again, after a Macondo Sim, that does turn out to be the best play. And here, kind of curious move from Josh. He plays Revo for 7 points through the Eye of Fleur, tying up the scores. So yep, that's what he did. So this is my next rack. Again, very lucky that after I played Tav, I drew the one tile that I was happy to see at this time, was the X. So I just have the X for Docs here, by far my highest and best scoring play. 40 points in this situation. Next, Josh plays Vermin through the V that he just played, but of course sets up a big spot above it, hitting the triple above the I. And yeah, this is what I have next. So there are no bingos available with any of the floating tiles of Mind. That's on the right side of the board. Did take me a few seconds to try and figure out if there was anything there or not, but I concluded that there was nothing there, and I was right. There's nothing there, so playing above Vermin was the best option, and playing Bona was the best play. So all good there too. And you can notice that his play of Vermin for 69 and my Bona for 47, only 22 points less. And my Axe play versus his Revo play was a lot more than more than 22 points. So I'm still ahead after all this so far. Josh plays Sizey at the bottom of the board, opening up the triple, going slightly ahead. The next rack here is this. So I do have a bingo of Centime, however you pronounce it. Doesn't play anywhere. So now I'm kind of wondering what the next best play would be. If there was anything that would actually play through two tiles on the board, like through the ON or on the right side, or through NE or AD. So I was looking for a lot of stuff there. Even the RE of in the middle of this board here, I was looking for 9s through there, couldn't find anything. Even this R as well, maybe with Flirt you can maybe do something, but I concluded again, nothing through there either. So yeah, I just decided to play what I thought was my highest scoring play. I say what I thought my highest scoring. It is my highest scoring play of Emetic for 44 points. The only thing I didn't really like about this play, and very much, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. It's actually it just gives away big spots above YE with a lot of high scoring consonants. So that's the thing that I didn't like about this play, but it scores 44 points, keeps an N. Hopefully I can draw into one of the two blanks. But yeah, this blocks a dangerous spot of the board. So that's what I did, and it was the best play according to Macondo. Next play, Josh plays Owglies with the E blank here. So now he's up, so he scored 77 points, he's up by 59 points. And you're now looking at this board and you are thinking that there is not that much that you can do. And you're right, because this whole top left section of the board is blocked. This top right section is now getting pretty difficult to access. So then the onus was kind of really on me to open up the board, but I didn't really generate any great way to do it. And in this situation, there is actually no real need to do so. I can just play underneath Vermin and play E now for 41 points, which I thought was a lot of points. It's worth it here. There's very few open plays, places to bingo, not to bingo, but to score points now. You maybe with Inal, you have maybe the spot above the E of Auglese or underneath Inal to do that. And other than that, there's really not much available. So I'm just taking one of the big spots now, and just hoping that after Josh's bingo, he doesn't have much or doesn't have anything to play. So I did that for 41 points. So Josh actually does take a while to think about what to play here, which either made me think that he's either close to a bingo or potentially just has a lot of options. And on this board, there aren't that many options available, so I was a little bit confused as to what he was thinking about. But he ends up playing Nudist under Inal, which scores 2 extra points on Inal. So that was 43 points. Not only does it, you know, score so many, there's still another blank unseen. He's now a bingo ahead. He's back to 61 points ahead. He also blocks the high scoring spot underneath, well, above the E of Auglese, which makes it very difficult for me in this situation, just looking at the board and not even looking at whatever tiles I have, to actually do something meaningful. So yeah, now I was kind of a little bit under pressure here in terms of what I'm going to play or what I'm going to do. And quite frankly, there aren't that many options available. This is my rack now, and I drew the Q, which is obviously something that is potentially fatal in this situation. There's nowhere to play the Q. There's nowhere to play a bingo. I'm already 61 points behind. So yeah, it's looking like kind of GG at this stage. And there's not really a great many ways I can score points. So I'm kind of backed into a corner here. So yeah, I was hugely contemplating just exchanging, and but I was like, well, the exchanging puts me further behind. It puts me further behind. And there's no guarantee that I'm going to pick out any good tiles. Like, Josh is not going to open the board up for me in most cases. How about the best saying you can play an 8 through the L? That's true. I can play something down onto this G column. Again, it doesn't score many points, and it will open the triple. So if I do something like this, it most likely will get crushed in some way. So it is, yes, it is still a possible way of doing something there, but with the Q on my rack, and I don't have a way to get rid of the Q, I'm now in a spot of what can I really play in this situation, and how can I give myself any chance of winning this game. So yeah, I decided to not exchange in the end. And maybe if maybe the scores were closer, maybe I would have, or maybe if I was winning, where I don't need to open up the board, but I have to come up with a way to open up this whole left side of the board and this whole right side of the board. So I came up with an idea of playing Arpen through the R of, wait a minute, what's happening here? Oh, through the R of Revo. So I played Arpen like this, keeping IOQ, which is obviously not very good, but the thing is that it does provide a bingo lane on row 6 onto AL, and also it gives me a way to play off my Q for QIN onto the N of Arpen. So it kind of does two different things that hopefully will kind of set me up put me in a better spot for future turns and for the game itself. So let's have a look at this, what we have here, and you can see a lot of these moves that are available are not particularly good at all. So you have things like this, which I feel doesn't really open up the board enough. So like you can bingo through to the column J, but that could get blocked pretty easily. Arpen statically is on the list too. You've got Ope, which doesn't really achieve anything. Again, these are all just statically generated plays from the engine. And you can see here, once I start simulating this, my move up and still isn't particularly great, but it does give me a better chance of winning. Well, 8% chance of winning. That's what I have at this stage. I really don't have much of a chance. 9% at most. It's well, it's now going near to the top of the list. So if we kind of remove a bunch of these other candidate plays and make this run a bit faster. So yeah, 10% at most, which again, not great. Even though I'm still only 61 points behind, it's not rating my chances particularly highly, but it's slightly better than exchange. So that's what I ended up doing. I was like, I have to kind of almost, it's not really quite a Hail Mary, but it's a slight desperation play to some degree that I have to open up 2 parts of the board and just get Josh to think about what to do next. So yeah, that's what I did. It scores 22 points. It keeps me to within 40 at least, so I can I can kind of sacrifice a bit of equity further down the line if I need to try and go for the bingo at some point. So yeah, the next play is, wait, what did he play here? He plays Jew, so he puts JEU onto the U of Hound, which doesn't do anything to the 2 spots that I just opened up, so to some degree I'm pretty happy about that. Especially since I am now holding this rack here. I'm still holding obviously the QIO, I just drew Grip, so I have options here to play something like Pirog or Pierogi, and maybe I want to go for the blank. That might be an effective way to do that. Or I could just play QIN here for 24, just try and get rid of the Q once I have the opportunity to do so. The spot here probably might not be open next turn. Not only does QIN get rid of my Q, I keep Pirog, which is not a bad leave in the grand scheme of things, but obviously it could be a lot better. But I have the other eye to maybe play upwards to the triple and open up more parts of the board here. Or I could just play Pirog or Pierogi afterwards, which would net me another almost 30 points. So I think Pierogi, I mean, Pierogi is not too bad. And yes, you were to mention about Pierogi, then draw Cat. That is also an option as well. So like, let's just have a look at this. I think QIN actually wasn't the best play in the end. It wanted me to play Pierogi. It's quite possible that I could draw Cat. And you can see with the tiles left, there aren't all that many big tiles left. But the thing is, if I play Pierogi and he blocks this spot here, like this spot now means that this 4 timer lane is the biggest problem on the board. And I feel like he's going to block at least this spot here, especially with 3 A's and an O unseen. He's going to probably play something up here that will score well and block this 4 timer lane. And then I'm stuck with my Q. With 1 U unseen, I don't necessarily like my chances of picking up the U. So to me, I feel like the win percentage is a bit inflated because, again, if Quackle is kind of generating the win percentages playing against some random bot, like a computer, right? It's not going to be playing against a human that will understand that Pierogi is dangerous in many other ways. A computer might just play something down the corner and not worry about this and then give myself a higher win percentage. So yes, Pierogi would give me Cat. I feel like this is not going to stay open, but I felt like this is probably the time where I need to get rid of the Q. So according to the analyzer, the QIN is not the strongest play, but this is what I did anyway. It gives me a 13% chance of winning. So, after QIN, Josh plays EE through here. What's Makondo say? I think it does also say to play Pirog or Pierogi. It does agree with what Quackle says, that QIN is my third best play. Again, there might be a slight flaw in simulations software that's not necessarily thinking about what a human play would be, or doesn't understand what a human would be thinking in this case. Or what the, you might be weighting your moves more towards blocking that 4-timer lane rather than doing your regular equity play. So that is what Makondo said. He actually agrees. Maybe if it's right or not, I don't know. I don't feel like it is right in terms of playing against a very, very strong human opponent. So he plays EE in the bottom down here. Again, just like Ju and EE, doesn't affect anything with the top part of the board. I feel like he's probably fishing for a bingo of some kind. So yeah, the next rack is this. So let's update the scores. I'm 52 points behind. I'm now in a spot where like, okay, he didn't play anything next to the queue. I could try and open up more spots going upwards and maybe trying to threaten bingo lanes here. Because if I do that, then he can't block all of these lanes up here and block this one really at the same time. It's going to be very difficult. Yes, that is also true. That is also true. He could also try and block this spot, although, yeah, row 6, but obviously row 6 would not be as lucrative. So like you could play the A or the C or the B there. There's not too many letters that go there. So yeah, it's a bit of a... Yeah, it's quite possible that cat stays open and I can just outrun, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But yeah, this is my rack now. So as intended, or kind of with the master plan of Pierogi / Chin, I have Pierogi now on my rack. And I don't have all that much time left to do it, but there are options available to open the top right part of the board. But I actually do play a Pierogi here, keeping AL. I felt like it was actually important to keep an A for all. Again, this doesn't really open anything up, and this does now mean that Josh could just play something here and just block it if he wanted to. But the fact is he just played JE and EE, so maybe he is fishing for bingo himself. And maybe he's waiting for me to bingo here, and then he can just counter after that. So it's quite possible that is the idea here. But I decided to play Pierogi. I was like, I just have to try and play more tiles here and not give away too many floaters. It's quite possible that he could just hit me with a bingo straight away after Pagri or Pauli. So let's just do this. Let's just keep it closed for now. Pierogi only puts me 23 points behind. I'm not that far behind. Pierogi in this spot also doesn't give away really anything. Josh is going to have to come up with something decent to keep up, or at least try and stay ahead with a decent number of points. And you can see here that Pierogi does come out top. Makondo also agrees that this is the best play. Gives me now a 27% chance of winning. So, yeah, it's a interesting spot to be in. Even though I didn't have all that much time left. So Pierogi is what I play. Josh now plays the H and plays Hokas and Hugh for 21 points, which is actually quite a lot for just one tile. And then I drew this. I have this on my rack now, so I kept AL. I just drew A, B, E, F blank. So I was a little bit surprised that the blank was still in the bag. That was still not it wasn't scooped up by Josh earlier on, and he's just going to try and bingo now. So yeah, this is now an interesting situation. We're now 44 points behind, and the letters left, there's 7 tiles left in the bag, and the letters left are actually pretty good. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough now. And the thing is, pretty quickly I do manage to spot my bingo. I do have one playable bingo here, and it plays above AL, which is what I opened up earlier, and it's Fleabag. So I managed to... Look, the G's are blank. So that is an option for me now. So the question is, I'm 44 points behind. Do I play this move? Or do I attempt to engineer a different kind of opening somewhere else and try and bingo out somehow? This is now kind of venturing to the really tough kind of simulations that you're kind of running in your own head. Like, is this going to be enough to win? Because I am giving away 4 different floaters with the first 4 tiles of my bingo. So yeah, and again, you're kind of making an inference on what he has just played. So he played JE, so I guess maybe he's just getting rid of the J and scoring points. Okay, fair enough. He plays EE, so he probably has another E. And there's only one E left, so don't forget, there's only one E left. So I'm probably not going to pick out an E. And then he just played an H. So I feel like he's probably on a very close to a bingo, or he has a bingo but doesn't want to play it kind of rack. And I'm probably going to draw, out of these 14 tiles, probably the if you had to rank all the possible racks together, every single combination of those 14 tiles, I'm probably going to be picking something in the bottom 20%, probably, right? I think that's probably fair. So if I know that he has an E, then my rack's probably not going to be automatically, probably not going to be in the top 10-15% straight away. And the fact that he might even have the S as well would then reduce that even more. My rack's probably not in the top 1/3 of all racks possible without the E or S. So then, what am I left with, and what are my options? So, as I said, I'm 44 points behind, and then I'm now figuring out, like, if I don't play a bingo, what do I play, and what options do I have left? And if I don't open anything else up, then how easy is it for him to just block what at this spot here and just win the game? So I was even thinking of, like, okay, so he might have the A, he could play the A here, but then I have the B for Baal. I could play some Able bingo with Baal and play something like, I don't know, he could play anything TA, or I don't know, well, something that would actually, like, not be easy to overlap or give me any hooks or anything. So Hop at the Best saying TUIIRC, yeah, probably the worst tiles are there. Itias is saying TTRI might almost be guaranteed. We'll see that in a minute. But it gets to a point now, like, what are my options available after this, or not playing a bingo? So let's have a look at the generated choices here. So you can see that Fleabag is the only playable bingo. I don't really think any of these moves are the right plays here, because this actually blocks the triple the bingo spot that I have. So what I'm gonna do in this situation is actually ask the championship player what it thinks. I probably should have pressed the button a little while ago, but you can see that one of the other candidate options is to play B flag onto the G of Pierogi, keeping A blank. Again, only one A left, and I probably don't need to worry about duplicating tiles here too much, unless I pick out 2 I's or 2 T's or something. So Bflag scores 24 points. I would only be 20 points behind. And the B and the F are not particularly good tiles for Domingo through. Although it could give big plays to the right of it. But Bflag also leaves only 2 in the bag. So then that one might put Josh in a slightly uncomfortable position of being only 20 points ahead. And does he just play off 1 tile? He can't really just play off 1 tile, because I could just bingo and still win. And he won't know now to whether block the E of Bflag or to block the AL. So this is the reason why Bflag has a win percentage of 55%. So I'm going to simulate this some more. And you can see that it wins more than half the time. So this is a case of when you shouldn't be playing the bingo straight away. And I will tell you right now that I did play the bingo. So I can't remember if I told you that or not, but I did play the bingo, which actually doesn't win more than 50% of the time. And again, we're talking about win percentages here based on pretty much random racks that are left in the 14,000 scene. Again, we probably know that he's very likely to have one of the E's, which is probably going to reduce our win percentage even more. And he probably has an I, probably has an R, probably has a T, maybe the S. So that even would reduce it even more again if you kind of specify the rack that he might have. So you can see there's a pretty big chunk here of win percentage that I'm actually losing out because I'm playing my bingo, and probably means that my opponent is going to bingo out and win, or just score enough points to win, or I'm just going to pick out really bad tiles. And even bar actually isn't a bad play here either, because this means that there's 5 tiles in the bag, and to hit the triple here, you would need to use up 5 tiles. But again, Josh could just play through the B, and just just block everything there anyway. So Itty has a saying, what if you infer ERST on his rack? So maybe we could okay, we could do ERT. ERT might be a kind of a somewhat safe bet, I guess. Okay, so let me just, I need to reset this. So let me just go back and move and do it again. So if I do Hue and then type up my rack again, this kind of resets the simulation a little bit. So if we generate choices and then we specify that he has ERT, and we're going to get rid of pretty much all these other moves, I think. Well, we can get rid of a bunch of them. Let's get rid of this, get rid of all these. We can add ball back into it again, just for lols. So okay, we're gonna see with the simulation now. After all this, we're also inferring that our opponent has ERT on this rack. Again, this means that the win percentage now goes down a little bit. Fleabag now wins 3 out of 8 times also, whereas Bflag still got its head over 50%. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, the chances of Bflag winning doesn't really change that much because there's an open E on the board, which I'm going to probably need to win the game, or at least confuse Josh in terms of where to play next. But this heavily reduces my chances of winning with Fleabag as well. So yep, it's not easy to kind of generate all those things. Again, don't have a million minutes to work this out, and I just figured that there is a possible chance that my opponent could just not have a bingo, or doesn't have any high scoring tiles. I'm picking 7 tiles. I'm gonna go up by 23 points. I could just score another I could just yeah, Bard is a funny one. I could just score another 30 points next turn and then just outrun whatever Josh does if he doesn't have a bingo. It's still possible. So probably slightly short-sighted of me to think that, but I didn't actually, I have to be honest, I did not generate the idea of Bflag. I did not see this move. And if I saw this move, I think I would have given it a lot more time. I would have given it a lot more I think I may have sided with this move. I may have done it because I really felt like that Fleabag probably isn't enough. Maybe if I was losing by a little bit less, so I'm 44 points behind. Maybe if I was losing by 30 points, I might do Fleabag, just because then that does mean that Josh needs to bingo to win. Yeah, Moonlight Bala are not right. Yeah, because it's going to expect that my opponent probably might not play onto the B, or it actually thinks that it's going to play like Trice or something down here and then open up ways for me to win. Like any smart human would not play anything to the triple and empty the bag. That's probably what it's thinking, that I have a chance to win there. But if we kind of take that out of the reckoning here, we just have two different options here. We either play the bingo or we play something that's not the bingo. And you can see here there's a 21 or 42% swing in win percentage here, based on this last move, essentially. And Fleabag was what I did. So let's move on with this. And then unfortunately for me, he ends up bingoing out. Again, not really something that I would was really surprised about, but he played Corselet here. So if I type out his rack here, then you can see that what letters are left. You were right that TTRI was pretty much dead cert almost. Pop Up the Bed also did talk about the U, and that is also there. So yeah, I should have been expecting some bad tiles. He bingos out against Beflag then too, I guess. It's quite possible. I mean, he would have just bingoed through something, I guess. Yeah, he could have bingoed onto Lectors or something and Sal, something like that. Which then would at least make it a bit more interesting, because then there'd be 2 9-timers open. But again, that all does depend on what letters are left in the bag. And with A, I, R, T, T, U to go with my A blank, I'm pretty much dead already, I think. I'm pretty much, in retrospect, it's probably one of those pulls, the 7 tiles left, that I probably am kind of doomed. No matter what I do. So if I knew that those things were in the bag, again, not really knowing what he might have potentially, I think you would have to go for the bingo. You just can't guarantee that you're going to be able to do anything next turn. But again, we're going to have to defer to the engine that Beflag was the better play, and again, as I said, I didn't generate that move, so I would have given it a lot more thought if I did see that play. Whether or not I would have passed it up is another story. It's quite possible that I may have. Just leaving 2 in the bag, it would have caused a bit of confusion for Josh on that front, being just 20 points behind. But yeah, that's what happened. He plays Corselet, which is his only bingo. I think he's actually in the spot where, because I'm only 23 points ahead in this case, he doesn't even need to bingo to win. You could play Crofts or Claffs or something and still be able to go out next. So many ways for him to win here, but he picked obviously the best one. So that was my game against Josh Castellano. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but yeah, it was a bit of an interesting end game there. Alright, so that was game number 3. We're going to fast forward through some of these other games. So game 4, I played against Rob Rabinski. I lose by 30 points. It was relatively close. Well, I say relatively close early on, but he manages to get another bingo, and I have to try and fish for a bingo, which I do get at the end, but that's just only the reason why I lost by 30 points. I was behind by about 100 after that, before that point. So I'm 1-3 now. I played Tim Weiss in game 5. I do manage to win that one by 104. Actually, one of my most perfect games that I played in quite some time. I only didn't play the top move on maybe 2 moves, and arguably one of them wasn't really wasn't a mistake at all, and the other one was just an exchange. So it didn't really put much wrong there. So yeah, 2 and 3 is my record at this stage, and what we're going to do next is go through game 6 against Sami Okusaga. So let's do that. As I said, we're going to try and go through maybe like 5 games or so. And yeah, we'll try and go through it as best we can. So let me just start another game. And we'll save this game and we'll reset all these things again. Okay, so we'll reset the scores and everything. I'm going first. And yeah, say slightly embarrassing, but I did but I didn't see the best play here. Again, it's not the biggest mistake in the world. I just saw Jebel and I didn't think of anything else. I was looking at it and was like, there's got to be something else here, and I didn't think of Jelab. So yeah, that's a slight misstep on my part. Again, it's not a big error. It's the same number of points. It's just you're keeping the E instead of the A. Oh, wait a minute. I can try and get this bot working. I can open InfiniWords and just get this bot working. Okay, can you try again? See if that works. Oh, and do I have to start another? Wait, let me just see. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'll have the bot working now. Just because I have InfiniWords up. Hi to Nomi Nemo, good to see you. We're just doing analysis of the Credit City Cup games, some of the games that I had over the past weekend. So yeah, I didn't see Jelab, so it's actually a 3 or 4 point mistake. So yeah, bad on my part. Here he plays a Yay above Jebel. Let me just make this a bit wider here. Okay. And here I actually really messed this move up. I'm really not painting myself in a great light here. This is my rack, and I was like, there's got to be something good here, and I couldn't work out what it was. And I spent like 3 or 4 minutes on this move. I was like, what do I do here? And I couldn't remember some of the words, and I was like, what? I'm just confusing myself in terms of what I was doing. So I played a pretty terrible move. I played Unable through the E because I just got confused after a while and was like, I just had to play something. And I was actually just like, I was just taking too long. So Unable is what I played. I don't think it might not even be on the generated moves list, actually. It was actually not very good at all. But the move that I was really looking for here was biannual onto the AL, which would have kept the L, scored 33 points. I did see things like unban, but then I actually wasn't sure about it. So then I was like, I don't think I can afford to lose a turn. I don't want to lose a turn here. And I didn't see the Alu hook onto this either. So I was looking around for a lot of things that I was completely blanking on. And I played Unable. So it ended up being like a 14-point mistake. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Okay, so then he plays QIN onto the N here. So the scores now, he's only 8 points behind. I have this rack, which I believe is the best play according to this and Macondo. Just playing Owl underneath. Again, you're setting up the X potentially, but the X would still go under the YE anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. Wanted to keep the T with more synergy and not playing the T for out. So Owl was the best play. Sami then plays Tan onto BO. And then I have a bingo. I have a bingo rack. So I have this rack here. Thinking of different ways, so let's have a look at the choices. There's a bunch here that I don't think we're going to even entertain, so let's remove those. So we have my highest scoring player of Indites and Tunable, which again leaves a huge spot above into the top left corner. We don't want to do that. could give away upwards of 40-50 points, or even just going down here with some big tiles. Seems like a bad idea. I have Tiniads as well, potentially giving away a lot of points with T as well. Could also play Tiniads and Tunable. Again, kind of a lot of overlaps, not too good there. Indites is the same as Tiniads, essentially, but a bit worse. Indesit, yeah, so we want to play brand names. So yeah, I actually ended up going with Dainties for 71. Does have a sneaky T hook as well, and doesn't really give away too much in terms of really anything. It gives away a floating S, but it's not really a big deal. So if we simulate this, it's not the worst option in the world, as you can see. It's not too bad. Again, it compares well with a bingo that's 8 points more on the scoreboard. And all the other 3 moves are not as good. So, actually, according to Macondo, Dainties was the best play. So it's kind of around the same. Why Dainties over Adenitis? Because it scores 3 points fewer. Because I'm making ID, and Adenitis doesn't make another word. So it does like having extra points. So yeah, you can see it's very close to being top, and you can see if I stop the simulation here, then it is top. So I guess Quackle agrees. Here, Sammy plays Dort, D-O-R-T, for 20 points. He does actually reveal to me later on that he actually had, this is actually his rack here. Let me just see. This was actually his rack. And he actually did have some bingos. He actually missed some bingos here. So there were 2 bingos playable. So we had Dog Trot and Ridotto, which actually both of them play above Tunable, and one of them plays with Daintiest. So he actually missed those moves completely. So he ends up playing Dort, keeping OT blank. Probably not the biggest. Well, it might be. I don't know how big a mistake that is. There's not that many places to play a bingo on this board, but Dort comes down for 20 points. This is my next move. My next rack here. Yep, go ahead and say the word. Go ahead. You have full permission to say the word, the 3-letter word. Go ahead. But yeah, here I actually don't really have all that many many great options in terms of what to play here. I'm up by 54 points. The question is, am I going to be too scared to open up the board some more, or do I just leave it as it is, or what do I actually get rid of here? And I don't have too many great options available. I hijacked a typo as well, and 2 infinity words, and to Itchite. So yeah, I just figured that I just had to take my highest scoring play, even though it's incredibly dangerous. 30 points. I'm playing Mudge for 30. Might pray and go for Mudge. Yeah, I didn't really want to play this move. It just opens up a lot, especially since I'm already up by a fair bit. But yeah, I felt like I didn't really have much of an option here because Mudge scores a lot of points as well. So, but yeah, despite that, Macondo likes this play and actually likes it as a top move. So that was that. Unfortunately, Sammy now has a bingo, so he plays Toe Line for 84 points, leveling up the score, which I don't know if it would have played anywhere else, but he would have I think he would have had like snowiest or something down here at least, so it probably wasn't all that different in the end. He just got a slightly higher scoring bingo, but I also managed to get rid of some bad tiles too. So the next rack is this. Again, not particularly great. I kept GOT on my rack. I just picked out COOS. Don't have all that many options. I was gonna play Skoog above Mudge, but with the letters that I just drew, I can't really play anything underneath Mudge or to the triple. So I'm now looking just to get rid of some bad tiles, and hopefully I can bingo pretty soon. So I ended up playing Goo, which I think is the equity play, and it actually was the best play according to Macondo also. So found that one. But we're not done yet, because Sammy ends up playing a bingo. He plays Cruises and Mudger for 90 points. And I actually wrote on my score sheet. I don't know if you can see that on my score sheet. There's a check mark right next to it, and I wrote Mudger. It's a bit hard to see, but it's right there. It's right there. And I wasn't sure if Mudger was good, so I did have to check it. I was like, I have to challenge it if I'm not sure. It's a 90-point bingo, but it ends up being good, so he gets 95 for this. And I'm now finding myself pretty far behind. The next rack here is this. So now I have bingos playable. But the main problem here was that I actually wasn't sure of bohos. I wasn't sure of the S-hook of boho. And I couldn't remember how many anagrams there were. And obviously I might be thinking of oho, which doesn't take an S. And at this precarious stage of the game, where I'm now 71 points behind, I cannot afford to lose a turn. And also, yes, Soho does not take an S as well. So there's a bunch of words that are like this or similar, and I didn't want to lose a turn. If I lose a turn here and say this bohos is not a word, I only have one possible bingo to play. And if that gets blocked and I'm 100 behind, then it's pretty much game over, right? So I had to err on the side of caution here and just play the bingo that I knew was good, even though it was heavily suboptimal. So, I actually don't even have the updated CSW24 lexicon in my thing here, but you can't see it. But the highest scoring moves are obviously playing underneath Goo for the high 80s. But I ended up playing a new CSW word of retcons for 67. It's significantly less. It's a 22-point mistake overall, so this was not particularly my finest moment, it has to be said. But again, scoring 67 points is better than scoring 0. And if it puts me back in the game and just keeps me in the game, then I am okay with that. There's many times in the past where I have got greedy. I'm sure we can all say that we've done this at some point, where we potentially got greedy and was like, oh, this move scores like 25 points more, and then but like, oh, I'm not sure about this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and then it's not a word, and then you lose. So then I was like, okay, let's just make sure that this is good. And not only that, because this is still day one, there was actually a prize. There's actually a $20 prize for the highest scoring CSW24 new CSW24 word. So I already had one on the list already, and this was actually going to go second on the list. And in the end, actually, I didn't even win either of them. I think 2 people overtook both of my entries, so it didn't even matter in the end anyway. But yeah, that was why. Well, that wasn't really $20, but. The main reason was just playing a bingo that I knew was good. I don't remember what the other entries were that overtook me in the end. I don't remember, but I got 67 for this. I got 71 for another move earlier on in the tournament, I think. Oh yeah, I got 71 for Bonsais, which was against Praneet Sharma on the stream. So yeah, I got those two early on, and then two other people beat both of my scores, so that was a bit annoying. But anyway, I played Retcons, and we'll play that. Then he plays Axe underneath Goo, so yeah, there's a bit of a swing for him there too, that he probably wouldn't really be able to play that otherwise. But in the end, with this, it kind of worked out to some degree because I drew this rack here, and I have the H to go next to Retcon, so I got a little bit lucky here with 51 points for Haft. Best move according to Macondo, putting me slightly ahead now. Quite quickly, Sammy plays a G through the G of Mudger, only going 5 points ahead now. The problem with this now means, well, the problem with this is that I end up drawing this rack. I drew some absolutely garbage tiles. I kept GID, I just picked out EEIU from the bag. And yeah, the most obvious move here is to play Guide. Keeping IE, scoring good, scoring well. There's 1 D unseen, there's 3 R's unseen to potentially make a bingo down here. And also potential big letters that could go next to Ish. Like the F, the K, the P, they all can go down there and can score upwards of 30-40 points, which is not something that I wanted to do. So I decided to not play in this spot and give him the the kind of easy, cheap way of getting points on the board. So I decided to play Edit and the Jebel here. I know it keeps EGIU, which is not great, admittedly, but it doesn't give away anything. I'm going to wait for Sammy to try and give me a better opportunity to get rid of some of those tiles. So that's what I did. So you can see Guide here statically comes out best by a long way, but Edit is third on the list in terms of evaluation. But if we simulate this, you can see that Edit goes to the top, and it's quite significantly much higher than everything else. So pretty happy with that that decision. The other moves don't even come close. It's not even like 5%. Everything is at least, or 6% worse actually than everything else. And Guide is an extra 1% back from that too. So happy to find Edit and to keep things closed, keep things blocked, get rid of my duplicate tiles, and we'll look to play off the G and the U later on. So I'd say a slightly strange move, but I know that Sammy's very tactical, but he decides to play Kenaf here, which is very dangerous because there's obviously things that can hit the triple, and I was a bit surprised by that, but I think he said he has some bad tiles and isn't really sure what to play otherwise. But in any case, I have this rack. It kind of gives me now an easier chance or an easier way to score points. So just to kind of say about it, if I played Guide here, he could have played something like Kane, K-A-N-E, and Kish. That would have scored a lot of points, maybe mid-40s, instead of just 22, and giving me another way to score. So yeah, after this, I played Vagi, which was here. I actually did write Vagish on my score sheet. I wasn't sure about it, but I didn't want to leave this spot open. And again, there's no S left, so playing Key is blocked there rather than putting the A for Vega. There's no an O. There's still 2 O's and an A unseen. And according to Macondo, Vagi is the best play. So looking not too bad here. I'm 24 points ahead. And we're moving on to the kind of very interesting part now of this game. So he plays Fard in this situation here. Okay, and we're gonna show you what letters I have. So let me put this in. This is what I have on my rack. I'm down by 5 points. you can see what letters are left next to my face, I guess. 3 vowels, 6 consonants, and the consonants are not particularly great. There's a M, there's an L, there's a V, there's 2 R's, there's a Z, which is probably the best tile there, but there's no like amazing play or amazing place to play the Z. I mean, you're gonna need some other tiles for that. But I have 4 vowels, I have 3 consonants. So now you're starting to make some kind of inference in terms of what letters could be still in the bag. Noting that there's still 2 tiles in the bag right now, and he just picked out 4 tiles. So it might not mean a great deal because he could have just picked out a bunch of those tiles they didn't have that we think he could have had. So just looking at the words fard, we can almost immediately say that if he had the Z, he would have played Zarf and Zax in that same spot. So he obviously didn't have the Z when he played fard. I think the chances are pretty high that he would have just played farm with an M instead of the D if he had an M. So we're narrowing down the options here. And if he played fard, if he had the O, he would have just played Ford instead. So he's probably left the O in the bag too. So M-O-Z are probably letters that he didn't already have. We don't know if he had another R. It's too difficult to tell if he had an E or an I. It's quite possible that he's holding onto those, or maybe he just drew some of them. So we can almost say with pretty high certainty that he didn't have the M, O, or Z, which leaves the E, I, L, R, R, V as well. So yeah, he could have put V probably. I mean, he might have, if he had VAR, I mean, that might be dangerous, hooking onto, leaving too many hooks to the triple. It's quite possible, but I don't know. We can't say with any certainty because he could have played Fav as well, but he's then hoping that I don't have an E. I couldn't necessarily say for certain that he didn't have the V. It's again quite possible. There could be other reasons. So, with that in mind, I'm now having to potentially gear up for an endgame where I might draw any of the M, O, or Z. But the problem is, I'm now 5 points behind. There's quite a lot of bad tiles left, and I need to avoid. I need to essentially go out in 2 games. 2 moves. How can I go out in 2 moves and outrun him with whatever he has? Because there aren't that many spaces on the board where I can score many points. So I'm in a bit of trouble here. Unfortunately, I did have enough time to work this out. But did I work it out right? That's really the question. And I was kind of spinning my wheels here. I was like, what am I supposed to play? Because I'm also looking at what potential threats there are. Especially with the Z not on my rack. And still some decent vowels. Like, he can still score pretty well. And also, do I even try? I mean, the idea of even fishing for a bingo even came into my mind. If I just drop the O and get the R, I can play supplier onto this S. But I was like, this is putting way too many eggs into one basket here, and I don't think I can risk that. So then I was like, okay, well, let's go back to the original plan of trying to get rid of as many tiles as I can, and trying to win with 2 moves. So yeah, let's see what the championship player is going to say here with Quackle. Again, I do have the numbers here, and I do have what the best move would be according to Macondo, but I would be interested to see what this engine is going to say. Again, a very precarious situation. And as Muffin Tentacle already said, pre-op is 30 points, so I could play it through the R. I could play pre-op here. I could even play something like purple as well. I keep IO on my rack, so I might be in a bit of trouble if I drew another vowel. So you can see here there are a lot of options available here that we didn't even think about, or even I haven't even talked about. We can simulate this some more shortly, but PUD, emptying the bag, does that make any sense to me? I don't know if that makes any sense. Up, just getting with U and the P. I don't know if any of these things really make any sense to me, potentially. But again, there's a big drop off here from 52% to 36%. So we could even add purple to this list as well. Let's just add it and just see what happens. But yeah, let's go through this game and try and simulate what it thinks is the best play. So it does look like I am likely to win this game. What does Makonda's peg say? So this still has 2 tiles left in the bag, so I don't think the peg option works with 2 in the bag. But you can see there are 2 very clear front runners in terms of what to... Oh, it does work? Okay, I haven't tried it with the peg on this one. But you can see there are 2 front runners here, and it's quite simple. It's just purple or purpy. Yes, hi to the Makondo bot. Good question. Yes, it's all interesting to know what the other engines would say. But yeah, you can see there's like an 11 or 12% difference between these 2 moves and anything else. So Petty keeping LOPU. I'm guessing it's allowing me to play something like Prowl above it next turn, guaranteeing a good score at least. Pish scores only 18. I think it's blocking some of the Z players that can get played through here. Even Upish, you can extend that and get some more points, but strangely, this even scores 8 more points, but has a lower win percentage. So again, things like Pod, Updo are on here. So I wasn't really sure what to do. I did mainly consider either purple or pre-op, but then because I ended up taking like 6 minutes on this turn, I ended up just going with pre-op. I was like, okay, I think I just have to make a move. I'm going to go with a higher scoring play. I keep ILU, which is not great. Again, I was also concerned the fact that I have EILO on my rack, and there's EILO unseen to me too. So I was also concerned about duplicating any of these tiles to the point where I cannot go out on the next turn. But I feel like I needed to play out another tile, because if I keep 5 tiles on my rack the next turn, I'm probably not going to be able to go out. But I was hoping that I could maybe draw a big tile of some kind and maybe play it underneath pre-up. But again, I'm kind of leaving it up to chance, I guess. And that's probably not usually the way that you should play this game. So yeah, I went with pre-op, and you can see it's a big mistake. Pretty big mistake. So I went with this. And then he plays Zorro onto the O of retcons, because this was his rack now. He has this rack. So you can see with the unseen tiles, I had ILU. I ended up picking the M and the V from the bag, which in the grand scheme of things, maybe I would have been in a little bit of trouble anyway. But yeah, it's so if I had purple, I'd have IMOV left, and I could play with something like Vomit to this T here, which then might actually have to do something there, or I play movie onto this E, so I would have some options to win the game. And unsurprisingly, so when you play Zoro, then that actually does win the game. It's a bad move on my part playing pre-up. He plays Zoro. I played Vom, I think. Here, just trying to block Lei. Yeah, but by this point, I was already lost by this point. So he plays his best move of Idol to win the game. So I ended up losing this game by 14 points, and it's one of those games where it was like, you know, I probably should have done a bit better there, especially with some time on my side. Probably should have made a more accurate play of pre-up as well. So yeah. Itiasa said I put that into Macondo. You put the whole game into Macondo? How does purple play out? I think that wins, or Purpy, or purple, yeah. I think most likely I would have played purple because I either wouldn't have seen Purpy or wouldn't be sure enough. So if you play purple and then he has the same tiles, he had this rack here, and if we save the thing here, so we're going back with the scores. I'm up by 19 points. What does he do now? Can he win? Oh, he could actually tie. According to Quackle, Rorik or Lorik blocks both of those outplays, and he keeps Lez or Rez. So interesting. Purpy with a Y, all good in IE as well. Okay, nice. So yeah, it would have been something like Rorik or Lorik, and then I wouldn't been able to go out on this turn. I would just be able to play Move or Vom to tie the game. And then he has Rez and Gore, so it'd be something like that to tie. And then that would have ended up as a 4-2-4, 4-2-4 draw. But that would have required him to find Lorik or Rorik. So yeah, that would have been tough to find. I know I can see that Itihasa's doing a peg thing in Macondo with this endgame. I don't know if how far it is down the line where in your simulation, but I'm gonna try and keep things moving and move on to the next game. Please feel free to interject at any point when you finally get your results in with that sim. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Again, probably should have done a bit better, just like the game against Josh. So it's one of those games where it kind of got away from me. I probably should have done a bit better. But yeah, I was really contemplating whether I should play purple, because I really felt like getting rid of an extra letter there would have been so much help. Getting rid of 4 tiles instead of 5 would have helped me a lot. Play more tiles when in doubt. Yeah, it also scored a bit less too, and I was a bit worried about that that factor. I was maybe a bit under pressure with the score. So I don't know. What if you're not sure whether you're in doubt or not? Then you should play every move with super clarity. Never count on going out with 5 tiles. That is also true. Yeah, there's definitely, especially on this board, there's not that many spaces for 5 tiles. But yeah, it's a miscalculation on my part, I think, and yeah, I got to do better on that one. Okay, so we'll move on. So this loss meant that I'm now down to 2 and 4. Yeah, I blew it. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm washed up now, you know. Move on to game 7. And I'm playing against Koopa Komatsu, which is actually his first CSW tournament. I chickened out of a disconnected 9. I played, I could have played Varicose through an A and an O with a blank in there, blank V, and I wasn't sure enough of playing it. So I settled on a move that was significantly worse, and because of that, he managed to play a word that scored 33 points on a triple, and then I opened up something else, and then he got a four timer down with no vowels in hand. He had 5 consonants and a blank, and the floating vowel that I put in the right spot for him, and then he just scored a bunch of points after that, and he beat me by like 170 points. So that turned out to be the pivotal moment in that game. So I'm now down to 2 and 5. I finished off day 1 beating Mohammed Sulaiman by 51 points. He actually managed to out bingo me in that game, but I still managed to, and he had both blanks too, but still managed to withstand that, ending the day on 3 and 5. So yeah, I'm 3 and 5 going to day 2, and you're kind of expecting or hoping for some easier opponents, and my first opponent on day 2, after going 3 and 5, is Joel Wapnick, of course. So I ended up losing that game. I didn't play perfectly there, but a few mistakes here and there, very minor mistakes really. But he ended up getting a bingo near the end, which then put him up by 100. And I went out with a bingo, so I ended up losing by 26. So I'm down to 3 and 6. And then game 10, I'm now playing against Peter Armstrong. Again, a very, very strong player. And I'm playing him, and I'm 3 and 6. We're both like near the bottom of the division. Luckily, I managed to bingo 4 times in the first 5 moves. I only had 10 moves in this game. I get to a 532 and beat him by about 160. So I'm happy to win that game. Go up to 4 and 6. But the next game I want to analyze with you or show you is game number 11, and it's against Yukiko Loritz. So there's going to be a few interesting situations here that I would like to show you. Okay, Itias has come up with the results of that sim. So let's see. Can I deduce what this says? Pre-op 22. Wait, there's a 30. Wait, what do these numbers mean? So is it a 30% chance of winning after pre-op? Is that what you're saying? With all those different combinations. 30.56, and then purple has a 69.4% chance of winning. Oh wow. Wow, I suck. How is Champ Player so wrong? So was purple like the highest winning percentage? Or the winningest move? Or was there another option that was slightly better? Yeah, purple wins with a lot more options. So basically with pre-op, I'm having to hope that the E or the Z is in the bag, and that way I can either go out or I can score points. And with purple, I have lots of other outs or lots of other ways to win if I don't pick out the E or the Z. Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. But yeah, in terms of like comparing what I played compared to purple, yeah, there's a huge difference. It's like 39% difference in win percentage. That's a lot. So yeah, I mean, those are the things I just need to improve on. I just didn't generate or didn't calculate the possibilities there. And again, the bot is going to be more accurate than a human who has a very limited amount of time. But at the same time, got to do better on these things, on these moves. Okay, so we're going to go through the next game. And again, I'm going to go through this one because it was a very interesting, I'm going to say there are some interesting positions in this game, that you cannot really prepare for, and I'm going to show you why real soon. Okay, so she goes first. Let me just save this. And she plays Tie, T-I-E, for 6 points. I have this rack here, and this is not going to come up in the in the generated choices because it is not in this list. But I ended up finding the new Collins 24 word of Aegyo that goes above it. And once I found that, I was like, okay, I'm playing it straight away. It might be just keeping the O is important since it works so well with the Z. Quite possible, yes. Quite possible. And yeah, it's yeah, the vowels that I kept with U and the I were not good whatsoever, so it was really bad. Yeah, it just compounds my misery even more, I know. Hi to Draco, real double JZ setup. Wow. About that. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't mean to challenge it off the board. Wait, let me go back. Thai. Okay, let me just type in Aegyo. Oh. Okay, so here she actually plays a phony. So she plays well, she actually has this rack. E-I-N-S-T-U-Z. So she has this rack. So she actually ends up phony bingoing here. She plays Wisens. Oh, she plays this down here. So I already knew, obviously, straight away that this is not a word. It's Wisen with an S, and then Wisense with W-I-S-E-N-T-S. So she obviously got it mixed up with the two. So I held this move because I already knew that this was not a word, but I wanted to see what I could do. So so we just kind of fast forward a little bit. We'll commit this, and it gets challenged off. But my rack here is actually this. I have a series of bingos available here. But the fact is that she just played Wisens, and I cannot block the A or the O or anything underneath the YE. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? It got a little bit troublesome. So like, do I just play something like nuclear, or do I just play nuclear here or unclear here? As far as I am aware, I don't think Lusan fits. I was like, do I just leave Wisens on? Because she's guaranteed another 60-point play. And with the S here, I can't really do anything anyway. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to challenge it off. And I'm going to play unclear here. Because at least if she plays Wiz, she can, if she does that, she will get rid of the W and the Z. And then she'll probably bingo after that. So I'd rather that she plays something like Zit or Zin here. That way she keeps hold of the W. And then she might not be able to bingo. I mean, I could still play Lusan, that's also true. But I didn't really want to just give away a bingo and then get a bingo myself. I could just get the bingo myself and then just see what happens after that. So yeah, I went with unclear here. But in the midst of all this, we didn't realize that there was actually a better play than unclear. So look. Neuralgic was available through the GI. That was the real star play here, although it would have left Wiz available on the board. So yeah, not great, not great. I know, I suck, and again, as I said in the previous game, maybe three or four games ago, I chickened out of a Varicose, a disconnected 9, So then here's another 9 that would have played and I didn't see it. There were too many other things going on in this move that I was trying to understand. Astinio 7, now Astinio 4. Astinio 000. Yeah, there was yeah, a lot to process here. So unfortunately I did play unclear. So yeah, not good. Not good. So yeah. I thought you knew 9s, I know. I told you I'm washed up now. I'm washed up. It's simple. Simple as that. So yeah, unsurprisingly, Yuki ends up playing Zit through the onto the O. So it keeps W, E, and S. So, you know, might not necessarily always bingo, but we'll see. So despite that, I'm now 30 points ahead. I have a rack here. I have this. And I was like, with W, E, and S, she's probably not going to play onto this U. So I don't really have to worry about playing here most of the time. And I don't want to open up any floating tiles. So I decided to play my highest scoring play of Ariel for 30 points. I know I keep 2 O's, but the score's 30. It doesn't open anything up. Kind of messes up this T floater as well. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll just do something like this. Keep it tight, and we'll see what we do. We could sim it if you really want to. It's pretty close. I like Aureola on vibes. Unfortunately, that's not how Quackle works, but you know. So yeah, there's things like Alu, which is only 12 points. Wait, Alo is there. Everything's pretty close. Ratu. I guess we could also specify that the bot has EN WS. So Ariel, yeah, they're all pretty close. There's not that much difference between them all. Alright, let's move on. So, after that, she plays Unwet. So she ends up getting rid of 3 of the 4 tiles that we already know that she had. And then I have this rack now. I have this. So unfortunately no O for Colorado. And I was thinking, was there any weird bingo that I've seen that plays through the C and the L? And I was like, probably not. I don't have any hooks for Zit either. But I do play the highest scoring. Oh, is it the best? The highest scoring? Maybe not the highest scoring, I don't know. But it's the best play here according to Macondo. And it's just cool for 32. Playing above Ariel. Looks pretty good. 32 points here. I'm now up by about a bingo. Keeping ADR. So that was pretty good. And then here is the next really confusing thing here for you guys to cut your teeth into. So the next move that she played is Nervos onto the S, onto the zit, making zits. And for those that are, say, have studied their words, and maybe you don't necessarily know it. maybe there's some NWL players out there, but Nervos is not a word. So this is another phony. And there are no 7s in this rack as far as I'm aware. So now I'm just sitting here, I'm like, hold. I want to hold, and now I have to figure out what to do. Because I don't know if I can actually like. Okay, I'm gonna like commit this just so that you can see it, just for illustrative purposes. Let me show you. No, so let's just leave it on the board for a second. But this is my rack right now. I have this rack. So I have Rigodon to go into the N for 1 fewer point or 2 fewer points. And without that N, I'm like, do I leave this N here or do I just challenge it off? Because if I challenge it off, I have to now figure out what she can do, and she has converse here. She has converse here, so that means if I challenge it off, I need to play through the C. And what can I do to play through the C? I just have to play something like Guaco. I keep DIR, which is not particularly great. I play Guaco, she probably plays something like, I don't know, something onto this E. I've got no real clue what she might do here, but she's gonna have to do something there. I need to play through the L. Why do I need to play through the L? Why do I need to play through the L? Should we draw 110 point response? Because overseen? Wait, where's overseen? Where is overseen? I don't understand. No, because nervous is what she has. E1, but you can't play. There's no other. Yeah, Agio is here. Yeah, Agio is here. You can't play through this E. Okay, I was just wanting to make sure that you understood that. No, it's okay. It's okay. All good. All good. But yes. So now I have her on hold. And I have her on hold for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And I'm like, okay. This is, again, as I said, this is not a position that you can practice. This is not necessarily a position that you can go onto Woogles or to any other website, or even if you're playing at a club in real life. Like, this pretty much never happens. This kind of situation, like, how do you even generate, like, how much this is worth? Like, keeping Rigodon on, and then, like, now you're just hoping that she doesn't join to another bingo because there's 2 blanks on the scene. Or I challenge this off and then block converse, and then what is she going to do next? And then what letters am I going to pick out? Right? So, like, now how am I supposed to generate or understand how much those are worth and then figure out which one has the higher worth for me? So, after I think it was 4.5 minutes of keeping her on hold, I decided to challenge off Nervos. I was like, okay, I'm not going to take my bingo of Rigodon. I'm going to go back to Nervos. Wait, can I just do this? And then she plays Nervos. Okay, let's do this again. Acceptable play. Challenged off, yes. Okay, so here we are. And then I have this rack again. So let's put this back. And what we're going to do, I don't even know necessarily if it's that great to do it here, but I can generate a bunch of moves here and just say that she has Nervos. So if I simulate this, there's moves that come up on the list that now are playing through columns B and C, or B, C, or D. They're all up at the top now. I can now pretty much remove anything that's not on that played up there, which is pretty much most of these. I can just get rid of all these. Let's remove these just to make things move a bit faster. So we simulate this. This becomes very difficult to really understand what we should be doing here. So things like Goliard, again, does a very similar thing. Audio comes down as well, does block converse or conserve as well. So anything here in those 3 columns will pretty much block it. And again, you're assuming that she doesn't find it, because if she found it, she would have played it straight away. So there's always a chance that she may not have seen it still. But in the end, I'm not gonna. We could be here all night talking about this about this move, but I decided to play Guaco. Third best play according to Macondo in this situation. 2-point mistake. But yeah, I have to take the 18 points and try and edge myself further into the lead. So I play Guaco. Then she plays, wait, let me just put her tiles in. And then she plays Never onto Zitty, keeping OS. So now I'm like, you can type into Macondo like op rack, and then just type her rack, and I did put her rack in. But yeah, it knew her rack and knew that Guaco, something like Guaco would be better. I think maybe Goliath was probably best or something like that. So she played Never and keeps OS. So now I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, this is great, because now she just blew up the rack. And now she just drew 5 random tiles. But I will also tell you that when I challenged off Nervos, she picked out her replacement tiles, and of course when you challenge off a word, when they've taken replenishment tiles, they have to show you what letters are left, what letters they've just picked out the bag. So she actually picked out BEEHRY blank. So she actually did pick out the blank from the bag, and I was very happy that after that, then I actually challenged it off, because I was like, there are 2 blanks on scene, she could have picked out one of those just then, and I'm feeling that she might have done it with that pickup. So I'm very happy that I challenged that off and threw the blank back in the bag again. So now I've just got to, now I just have to kind of stop her from really getting a bingo down. And with this board now, there's, you know, not all that many places to play bingo. So like, if we put Never, we commit Never here. And I actually draw a blank after this draw, after Guaco. Along with a bunch of R's, so I drew the blank and an S after Guaco. I do play my best move of Duh, which is 10 points, keeping IRS blank. And then she plays Oud or Oud for 11. And then I have this rack here. I draw into this. There are a couple of bingos available. Again, knowing that she has OS on her rack, I decided to go with my highest scoring bingo of mid-ribs for 77. Bridie's was also an option as well to kind of keep things closed. And because of how open mid-ribs is, Macondo prefers Bridie's taking the 4-point sacrifice. So that was why. After this, she plays Vlog and Loud. Doing that. So I'm still up by 100 points at this stage. And here's another kind of big mistake that I made. Again, simply because I wasn't sure. I have this rack here, and immediately comes to mind is the word shopman. I'm like, shopman? Is that a word? And I'm like, oh boy, is shopman a word, or am I thinking of shipman? And I was like, is shopman a word? And I couldn't remember if shopman or shopman was a word, because shopman would be phenoms. And then I'm like, does phenoms have an anagram? Or does it have more anagrams? I can't remember. And yes, again, my opponent just lost 2 turns from missed challenges. But at the same time, I'm up by 90. I'm up by 96 points. I could score a lot of points here. There are not many. Again, not that many bingo lanes to play onto. In this situation, you have the spot underneath YE, but with OS, like, you know, there's not much. and they're not going to score them at points. Again, you're kind of hoping, again, she's not going to get a 9 timer or anything like that, but again, relatively low possibility. So on this occasion, I decided not to chance Shopman. I just wasn't sure. I mean, it just sounds very plausible. It's one of those words where it's like, I don't see why it wouldn't be a word. But then now I'm just guessing on the feel of like, do I feel like it's a word? And I'm like, I can't just go into this feeling like it should be a word. Like, it feels like it is a normal word, but like I just cannot remember it from studying. And maybe it's deep into those card boxes where I just don't see it for so long and I just don't remember it's a word. And the worst thing that could happen now is if I play a phony and then she gets a bingo down and then draws the blank. So I didn't want to necessarily make any glaring mistakes or give her some kind of give her a reason to think that she could still win this game. So I just kind of played as I would normally do without playing the bingo, and just play something like Poe for 28. I just wanted to just keep the scores moving, ticking along. Maybe, I mean, keeping AM and S, I'm quite likely to bingo again at some point very soon. I don't necessarily need to rush, but I just need to make sure I don't make a mistake at the same time. There's so many opportunities, so many times again that I made mistakes just by feeling that something is good, and it wasn't a word. So yeah, Shopman plays underneath tie for 86 points. I will forego it. I forwent it. Again, Shopman also plays onto the triple here too. But yeah, aside from those words, then Poe is pretty much near the top of all the other moves playable. So yeah, I lost a lot of equity there with that move. So next she plays Hoa onto next to midribs, and even now, again, I'm still up by. Wait a minute, am I missing a move here? Plays Ho. Oh wait, I haven't committed this move yet. Okay, there it is. Okay, so she plays Hoa. Okay, there we go. 203 points now. And this actually blocks my bingo. I had a bingo playable here. I had Transmute onto through the R, but she blocked it, or Transmute or Trusman. But with Hoa there now, I have the W to play through it, so I have Ren, and that turns out to be the best move according to Macondo. So that was that. She actually ends up getting a bingo now. Again, you can't let your opponent get too close. So 70 points, and she's now within a bingo behind. She's 67 points behind now. And I have this. So this is my rack here. You can see with the letters left, they're a mixed bag. I think it's fair to say. A lot of different unique tiles in the bag, including a lot of junky ones too, and not that many vowels too. So on another time I might have played something like a Timey or something, but instead I wanted to keep bingo-y tiles, and I played Mai for 27. So that was that one. And then she plays Dak, D-A-K, for 27 points as well. And then I drew pretty lucky, so I kept Saint. I ended up drawing ED from the bag, so easy, relatively easy bingo if you can find it. So I found my high scoring bingo instead, for 67. Top move again according to the analyzer. Then she just plays FE for 15 points, leaving one in the bag. Again, I was fortunate here because this is what my rack was, and if you look now at what letters are left, BFIMPQX blank. I kind of avoided a bunch of the bad tiles that was there. So yeah, and then after from here, I was just kind of making sure that I just had enough points to win the game, so and win by as much as I possibly could. So Jus is 28 points. She plays Fax for 21. I end up drawing the P here, so I have this, and then I find my most optimal endgame, which is playing Payet for 32, and then she plays QIS for 20, and then I play Nye for 14 to win. So I got to 510. I won by 150 points, but again, it's one of those games where like it could have completely swung in a different way. Again, with her phony of Wisance, she could have played Wiz straight away. Also, if I decided to leave Nervos on, the game could have completely swung in a different way too. But it's one of those games where you cannot really simulate or those kind of situations in a normal practice game. I guess you could if you wanted to engineer it, but these are the moments where it's like it gets really difficult to really understand what you should really be doing, right? So I won that game. That was game 11. Puts me up to 5 and 6. It's a long slog, guys. It's a long slog. Game 12, game before lunch, I played against Jason Ubika. Managed to win that one relatively comfortably in the end, by almost 70 points. Puts me to 6 and 6. Next, I'm playing Ben Schonbrun, who just won Albany the previous 3 or 4 weeks ago. Got lucky there, won by 130 points, taking me up to 7 and 6. Then I play Kevin Fraley, and I win that one again pretty easily with this one in the end. Also won by 120 points. So now I'm up to 8 and 6. And then another game that I want to go through tonight is a game 15 against Evans Clinchey. So I'm now currently on a what am I? I'm on a 5-game winning streak. I went from 4 and 6. And I'm currently, I went from 3 and 6, and I'm up to 8 and 6 now at this stage. And I'm making my way up the tables. So here I'm on, game number 15. So let's go through this one. I don't know if we'll go through another game or not later on. Actually, the other 2 games that I had in mind were not particularly, I mean, they were kind of games that we could go through, but they're not like that great. But we can see in a minute. Depends how much time we have. If we get past 11 o'clock, maybe we won't do any more, but we'll see. Yeah, the Swiss Gambit, exactly. I've been known to do that a lot, although it's not necessarily my desired path to victory. You know, if I could just win every game from the start, that would obviously be a lot easier, not better for me. But you know, it is what it is. Maybe I just start playing properly when I'm like in the middle of a tournament. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's start with game number 15. The first move, I have this rack. Seems like a straightforward first move, getting rid of 2 eyes, and it's Miri. And I played it here, which was the best play according to the engines. Evans plays Jur for 26 points underneath the M. And then I have this rack, which is a little bit tricky because you'll be able to see that there aren't really many ways to score too many points here, and there aren't that many like long words that you can play, so it's a little bit tricky. I mean, you can play ZA and JA for 40 points, but then you're kind of stuck with a bunch of ugly consonants, so I didn't want to do that. I decided to play Zig which was this move here, keeping some good tiles for next turn. And maybe playing something for 40 points would outweigh it, but I felt like it probably didn't. And you can see after some simulation here, according to Quackle, it's pretty strong. So yeah, I think ZA was still best anyway, but it could also be Zaggas, but it's very close. You can see it's pretty much negligible here. It's one of the best players, is up there. So that's what I did. Then Evans plays Juves, or Juvies, however you want to pronounce it. Wait, what just happened to my... Okay, here we go. So burns an S there. Here, say relatively straightforward move. Once you see it, only one playable bingo on my rack here, and it's through the R of Miri playing Cardinal, 65 points. Didn't particularly love having this opening next to the A, but you know, if it's the only bingo playable and it's way better than everything else, then you have to do it. Then he plays Fenny to the left of it for 45 points, so he's still slightly ahead. But I got a big stroke of luck here. I drew into the 3 bingo rack here of Coxius, Coexist, and Exotics, by where I was going to play Coxius and Cardinals, but look at this. I think the only playable bingo on this turn. 99 points through this R of Jur. I have Exciters. And that came down so fast because there was no way that it was ever going to be anything else there. So 99 points. So I'm up by almost 100 here. But the X gives away a lot of points. He ends up playing Howl for 51 to the left of it. And this was my rack here too, so I was kind of thinking about what to play here. Like, do I play like Hangle or something down here, or something down parallel to Howl? And I think Howl, the points it just kind of racks up, was very important here. So I picked this one. I played Udal, keeping GNR, which I believe is the best play according to Macondo. And it looks like it's the best play according to Quackle too. It's quite a fair bit ahead of everything else, so that's all good there. And then Evans extended the UH here to Bruh, a new CSW24 word. So that's good. 27 points there. Why didn't you play Ruglet? The carpet warehouse? What? Can't say that we obviously shop at the same places, but that's okay. Good to know. Let's move on to the next move here. This is my rack here. I don't know what I was necessarily thinking in this move, because the first thing that I saw was Feg, and that scores what, 37 points. But then I ended up not playing that move for some reason. I played Keith. And I think that the main reason why I didn't play Keg was that I wanted to keep the ING for at the bottom of the board, which is not all that likely to get blocked. If you play something with ING, the word is going to start here. So you're not really going to play anything down here unless you play Parallel, or you play like QIN or something. But if you play Keith, and then your opponent or you play something down from the K here, it still keeps this I open. So like, part of me was thinking that I should keep the NG together for this bingo spot, because you're not really going to bingo that often otherwise. So I played Keith. It was a 7-point mistake over Feg, so it was a kind of hefty mistake. And Keith doesn't even score as much as Feg anyway, so I don't know what I was necessarily considering there. But as to what Evans did, he plays Quoit through the eye of Exciters for 36 points. And then I end up not having any vows. So I was like, oh, this is not good, because I'm now potentially kind of slowed down a little bit. I'm up by 54 points on a relatively tight board. But yeah, wanted to keep some hooks for Miri, but now I'm like, okay, I can't really prioritize the ING ending for Fenny now. I'm gonna have to just go for equity here. I think playing Glib would have been better. So Glib, Drib, Drip or Grip, they're all potential options here. I went with Glib, and again, according to Macondo, this was the best play, so I did that one. Evans then extends far to 4th, which is a dangerous move. I see that there's 2 blanks and then 2 S's unseen, so looking like a potential bingo lane. I have this rack now. I'm up by just over 50. Looking to get rid of some of my kind of higher scoring tiles here to go for bingo next. The only thing I see is Nop or Pronk, and I played Nop for 30 points, but I do miss out on a slightly better play of Pondok for 39, keeping the ER. Better play there. It's a 9-point mistake, or even Pronked potentially if I want to score more points, but keeping DEOR isn't bad by any stretch. So it's not too bad, but Pondok by far a better play here, getting rid of the D and the O. So I'm up by 90 points here. And then after like 4 or 5 minutes, Evans starts playing a bingo with 2 blanks. So he plays D lane for 66 points. Yeah, 66 points here, hooking Mirin. And I don't draw particularly well. Again, keeping DEOR, I end up drawing DOY from... Oh, was that right? Wait a minute. Did I do something wrong here? Oh wait, sorry. I missed... Wait, Pondok is not meant to be on the board. My bad. Pondok, and then... D-lane. Okay. So yeah, I end up drawing another D and another O to go with it. So yeah, relatively straightforward play of Doi next to D-lane, kind of blocking off the bingo lanes. Also, I'm kind of potentially messing up the 4's bingo lane. If you end with an S, the AY kind of gets in the way a little bit. So a lot of defense in mind there, and keeping myself about 40-50 points ahead. So after this move, again, a very interesting position here because I'm 42 points ahead, and after about 3 minutes, Evans plays this. He plays TA for 5 points, and I'm like, okay. Let me look at my rack here. This is what I have on my rack, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's like 2 E's unseen. There's 2 I's unseen. Like, what is happening? What are you doing? I'm like, he's just asking for trouble here. I have Hag Road as a bingo, but it doesn't play anywhere. And I'm like, this is very dangerous to play TA, just giving away a lot of points for a triple play. So he must be very close to something. He must have at least an E or an I or something like that. He wouldn't do that if he didn't have a hook. But he's obviously opening a bingo lane at the top of the board and thinks that hemorrhaging points with this opening is actually worth the outlay here in terms of just having another spot to bingo onto. And I have this rack, so now I'm looking at it because I have 15 tiles in the bag, and I'm thinking about what to do next. I could play something short, or just play something, I know, up here. Just play something up here that blocks the triple, and tries to get rid of some of my kind of more uglier tiles. So Horde is an option also. But in the end, I decided to kind of go a bit gung-ho here. Because I can see from the unseen tiles, there's still 2 S's unseen. And if I just block this spot, I'm 37 points ahead. If I block the spot with a good number of points, I could still outrun a bingo. So I decided to play Garou for 36 points. So dog ear is another option, as I said in the chat. Horde, Howard as well. I feel like I have to play up here, no matter what I do. Garou does give me an extra chance to draw an S, but also gives away a bingo spot with the S in the N column, but would also give back a spot for me for my triple. You'll win if you leave 6 in the bag. Okay, so if I play Garou, according to Macondo, Garou is the best play. So if we simulate this, wait, let me press the button. It does agree with this assessment as well. Although I don't know if Quackle will agree with it either, but we'll see. So it likes Horde, it likes Dog Ear. They don't open up quite as much. So we'll see. I mean, it's pretty close. So yeah, the H is actually joint highest value in terms of the letters left. This 1W, 1Y left. So the H might be worth something later on. It's quite possible. But for some reason, Macondo likes Garou most, even though Quackle doesn't think it's too far off, but it's close. So we're up to about almost 2,000 iterations now, and it's about 0.4% off. And yes, I could draw the E for Garou as well, although that would give away more floating tiles to bingo onto for Evans, so I was worried about that too. But now that we're into the 2,500 iterations, Garou now is at the top of the list. So, it does like it most. It puts me far enough into the lead where I'm now 73 points ahead. So let's put that on the scoreboard. 383 to 310. And immediately after I play Garou, Evans plays a bingo. He starts playing Atropine. Down at the bottom through the eye. Again, not the highest scoring bingo. It's 61 points. He's still behind after this. 12 points behind. But it now becomes a question of what can I do next and what options are available. So with Atropine, there's only 2 tiles left in the bag. You know, we've been here before, haven't we? But I do actually fortunately draw both S's. The problem here is that, as I said earlier, with the H being the high scoring tile, there's still the W and the Y that are still unseen, and that can play directly above the E of Atropine and can score about 40 or 50 points. So it now becomes a question of, do I try and block this E? Because looking at the tiles left, there isn't really that many ways that my opponent can actually score many points to win without this spot at the bottom. Or do I just solely concentrate on just going out in 2? And I think in this situation specifically, in terms of just winning the game, either one is actually okay. Although blocking the 14 row is actually better in terms of win spread, basically. So if I ask the championship player and ask what it thinks, it's going to come up with some options that will play like parallel to a 4 or just play down from here, that will block any 5-letter play with the W or the Y. So we're still generating some options for from the championship player here on Quackle. But yeah, this is an interesting spot here in terms of what I should be doing. But in what I actually did, I actually decided that I was just going to concentrate on going out in 2, give myself the best possible way that I could win this game. And again, the E I just drew, I could play Gerald, but it would empty the bag, keep not enough vowels. And I could just play Stoned. I thought about just playing Stoned and Geralds. That scores 33 points. I'm up by 46. And I don't think there was actually any bingo available with those 9 tiles, from what I could see. So I wasn't worried about a bingo. It was more that there's a spot at the bottom of the board that might actually tie up the scores, but then I should have an S and 2 other tiles and I could still win. So here, it's randomly saying to play OS. I don't know if this is even right, because it's thinking that I'm going to bingo out or something. Geralds with ES as well. I don't even know if this is even something that I could even consider here, but LOD is another option. That's interesting because there are no hooks available for my opponent here with LOD. Or just dumping the S for D lanes. Quoits also, like if I put in Stoned, which is actually on the list already. Let me just simulate this. Wait, I should simulate this with more plies. So wow, randomly it says DE wins every time. That's how much. That's how this game. I needed to just block that bottom part of the board. Block that spot. Even if it just means putting 1 tile there, you win every single time. Because there is no other way that your opponent can come back from this. But in any case, I played Stoned. I don't really think there was really any way that I could lose after this either. Because I would be up, as I said, I'd be up by 46 points. And any play from down here would score around 46 to 50 points. And then I could just go out. Because I was wondering, what other ways that I could lose this game? How could I lose this game? And I was like, could I draw 2 eyes and lose the game? Like, it's possible, but I think I mean, can I still go out with 2 eyes? I mean, maybe. Maybe I can't. I felt like I went through this during the game and I was like... I felt like there was no way I could lose, but maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, I played Stoned here. This is pretty much never losing most of the time. And then he plays Y10. Wait, so we actually had an extra A here, not an I, so... He had this rack in the end. And I picked up IM from the bag. So he plays Y10, he doesn't play 1T, which would be 51. So he does that, and I have miss. But instead I played Sim for 26 points and wins the game. So, I won this game. It's a slight adding up error. We actually did have Evans at 415, so I ended up winning this by 37 points. And I improved to 9 and 6 as well. So I'm actually now in the chasing pack for the championship here. And then I play the final game of the day 2 against Josh Sokol. I ended up losing by 98 points. I didn't really miss anything here. Out of the first 8 moves, I played 6 of them perfectly according to Macondo, and I was still, at that point, I was still 165 points behind at that stage. So I think that kind of tells you about how that game went. Again, not going to go through it because it wasn't that, it was too one-sided to kind of go through, so I went down to 9 and 7 at the end of day 2. So I was fortunate to go 6-2 on day 2 there, after losing the first and the last game. So on the championship day, last 4 games, first game is against Dave Wiegand, of course, we all know is one of the best players, arguably the best player in North America. And I ended up losing by 31 points. I was winning pretty much the entire game until he got a bingo down with the S in the one and only S spot for 73 points, which swung the game the other way. So lost by 31, which pretty much put paid to my chances of winning the tournament. So down to 9-8. Game 18, I was like, okay, I've got a slightly better chance now. I'm playing against Bob Litton, but it's okay. I still lost by 148 points. And yeah, it didn't quite go so well for me. And according to Macondo, I lost about 30 points of equity, so I couldn't really have done much about that. Yeah, I couldn't really pinpoint any place here where it was a huge turning point. There weren't really any major mistakes in that game. So now down to 9-9. Game number 19, I played against Brad Whitmarsh. Was fortunate here that I did win by almost 120 points, and included me getting 3 challenges, so I got an extra 15 points from him throughout the game, which pushed me over 500 points, so 509 points for that one. And arguably, probably my worst game of the tournament was my last one against Dean Saldana, who I played in the very first game. I missed some bingos here. I played some phonies and missed a bingo that I wasn't sure about, and then by that point the game had slipped away from me by that point. So it was a game definitely one to forget, but again, kind of highlights that I need to put some more work into some of these games that I didn't quite do so well. So phonies, it was pretty bad actually. It was pretty bad. I think I've made this mistake before. So I had creates, the word creates, and there was an L that he just put out in a triple lane, and I played Secreto, even though there was a floating L on the board, and I was like, I know all the bingos to this rack, and I know there's only one that starts with an S, and I had already generated that in my list. And then I was like, and then when I played it so fast that I played it, and then it was only when he said hold, and then I was like, oh wait, I think I just messed this up. Even though I knew that there was a different bingo that starts with an S. And it wasn't that. So then that got challenged off. And the more annoying part was there was another L on the board in 4th position. So I could have played it on the next turn. And I actually had another place to play those tiles through an R, like terraces or whatever, retraces and things. But then in that moment, then I was like, now I'm not sure if I am I remembering the anagram right. So I didn't play it then either. So it was pretty bad. And I had through that same R, there was a floating R with that, and I missed a bingo on the turn previous. I drew Estuary out of the bag, and I missed the bingo through the R, and I missed Treasury. So it was a comedy of errors for those 3 missed bingos in a row. And I think for the whole tournament, the whole entire tournament prior to this game, I had only missed 3 bingos. For all the other 19 and a half games that was before that, I missed 3 straight away in a line. So yeah, I mean, it could have just been the fact that I was already 10-9 and I had nothing to play for. Again, it's not necessarily the right way to kind of, approach these games, but it could just be the point of like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done here. I'm happy to leave. I'm happy to go. And yeah, just lost the game. Despite scoring 443, I made all those mistakes. Lost by 75 points in the end in that game. So yeah, it went down to 10-10. It wasn't particularly pretty. Again, a lot of mistakes that I made. and you would have seen today some endgames that could have went my way if I kind of calculated it a bit more accurately, but you know, it's one of those things. You know, we just gotta try and improve on those things and make sure those things don't happen again. So yeah, that was my kind of Crescent City Cup. So we ended up winning 10-10 with a 504 spread, which is very convenient because 504 is the area code for New Orleans. So yeah, all good. But yeah, ended up losing four games behind from Josh Castellano, who won the tournament, so well done to him, and also to Kyle Johnson for winning the WoW division as well. I think he had 15 wins in the end for him, so well done to those guys, winning $2,500. So yeah, nice job for them. But yeah, one other thing I want to show you as well is actually something that, well, let's just kind of go back a bit. We actually had a kids side event, which some of you would have been there for. I do remember I was commentating on that time. There was a kids event that was going on during day one at lunchtime. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed potentially that that spectacle. I know that it's not necessarily the level of Scrabble that you guys would be used to seeing on a stream, but I think it's good to show that there are new kids and new players itching to learn and be very very brave to be on stream, especially when they have just been playing for a matter of months, whereas we do have players who are who've been playing for years, decades, maybe centuries for some people. It feels like they've been playing for centuries and still don't want to be on the stream, and yet these kids are just excited to be on the stream and ready to go get them and show what they can do. Again, this is all in preparation for the North American School Scrabble Championships held in Washington DC, and that will be in April 26th to 27th, so it's about 3 months to go. And we'll have two of those teams that were in that tournament will be part of our squad to play in that tournament, and hopefully you might end up seeing them on stream again. But one of the other things I want to show you is one of the other kids that was playing in the main event, who was actually my daughter Leah, who's 13, and she was playing. There was an anecdote actually that did the rounds a little bit. And I can actually show you what it was. So let me bring it up real quick. So here it is. It's actually one of her opponents, Kevin Black. So I don't know why he was writing this in third person, but he wrote, greets his Facebook family from the Crescent City Cup Scrabble tournament in New Orleans. Kevin lost this particular game, but get a load of this. His opponent, who had both blanks, played Grovers, which Kevin challenged off the board. Fearing that she would then see Glovers, Kevin blocked the play by playing Sun. Then his opponent announces she is going to make both blanks A's and begins her word with AA. At this point, Kevin suspects she knows her goose is cooked and was just throwing down some phony in hopes that it would go unchallenged, thereby earning her the win, albeit a tad unscrupulously. Of course, Kevin challenged again, because what kind of bullshit word is Arsvogel? But the play was good, securing the win for his opponent. Apparently, Kevin is not smarter than a middle schooler. This girl was in 7th grade. So yeah, it's funny that my daughter can see Arsvogel, but not Glovers or Grovels. You know, it goes there, you know. All good. But yeah, it was funny because I didn't see it at the time, but from what I was told, from my wife Lindsay, who was directing the event, is that they went to the challenge station and they typed in the word, and he literally couldn't believe that it was a word. Like, he literally was like laughing so hard and was like putting his head in his hand. He's like, "What did I just see? What just happened?" So that was kind of a funny anecdote from that tournament, from what my daughter had done. And Asvogel is not necessarily a word that is a word that she has studied in her, I mean, going down the list of probability is just a random word that I think she just found. And I say randomly just found, you might have just literally opened the book and was like, right there. Almost like the third word on the list or something, the top 5 words on the list. Straight from the start, so yeah. So yeah, pretty funny that it happened, and then she managed finding the play as well. So yeah, that was a kind of funny thing that happened in that tournament, which now a lot of people around, and now you guys are aware of. And my daughter Leah will also be playing at in Washington DC in 3 months' time as well. So another thing that was great was that because of she was playing in this tournament, she's now above 1,000 rating in WIGPO, which is the first time that any of my students have gone over 1,000. So this is already a good start for hopefully winning a successful campaign in Washington DC. So yeah, there's more to look forward to real soon for you guys. But until then, that is about it for my stream. So again, if you guys have enjoyed the stream, please hit that follow button. It would be greatly appreciated, and we can help grow this channel even more. Again, completely up to you. If you want to become a subscriber, you can use your Amazon Prime to support this channel some more, and give some bits if you also so wish to do so. That's completely up to you also. But other than that, I'll be back again on Thursday night. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet. I might play some more WOOGLES Randos. I might do some card box stream or something. Maybe I might leave that for Tuesday. But other than that, that is about it. So again, I hope you guys have enjoyed everything that has been shown for you today. Some interesting positions and whatnot. So yeah, let's go raid somebody. I think I'll go raid CL Smith. Looks like he's playing some poker. Again, he's also attended the Crescent City Cup, so loosely connected in that way. And again, you can also get your own Crescent City Cup merch if you type in !CCC store. Then you can look to buy your own stuff there. So let me just put that in the chat. So you just have to go to that link, and you can go search our store, and you can just buy whatever you want online, and it gets shipped straight to your house. So please consider doing that too if you so wish. So okay, let's go raid CL Smith. Again, have a good evening, and I hope to see you guys around in a couple of days. Yeah, see you around soon, and take care of yourselves, and good night.